Welcome to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. You can send questions for each show on Twitter using the hashtag IndieBeacon. Now sit back and enjoy learning about our guest for this show.
Hello, and thank you for joining our show today. I am your host, Jocelyn Arenetta Dion Holiday, and today we have yet another Texas author by the name of Tricia Draper. Welcome to the show, Tricia.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Can you just briefly start by telling our listeners a little about yourself?
Okay, well, I live in a small town west of Fort Worth called Decatur, and I live with my husband and my teenage son. So we have just a nice little quaint town, and it's just a lot of fun.
Oh, sounds great. So how long have you been a writer?
A long time. I love to write, and I wrote when I was little. So my first book, however, was published in 2003. So I love to write short stories. So I was writing those a long time before the first book came out.
Oh, okay. So 2003, we're talking about 16 years ago. So how did you know you wanted to be a writer?
It's a gift. It's just like a God-given gift. I love to do it. It's so much fun. When you're in that moment, everything just melts away, and it's just you and what you're writing. You get in touch with the characters, and it's just effortless when you're doing it. And it's so much fun to get to know the different characters and what you're talking about and thinking about helping other people. It's just wonderful.
Oh, that sounds great. And I know since you've been writing a long time and you've published a lot of books, can you tell us how your journey began at becoming a published author?
Well, the first book, it started when I was pregnant with my son. I had to stay on bed rest. So I had to have something to do to keep me from going crazy. So my husband got me a little laptop, and I just wrote these stories. And the first book is called Angels Among Us. It is currently out of print, but it had little short stories about how angels come into our lives and can help protect us and things like that. So after that, I went on a writing course I have a certificate from the Institute of Children's Literature, and I wrote my next book, which is Bobby Bear Learns to Be a Cowboy.
Oh, wow. Sounds like a true Texan.
That's right. My dad is a horse rancher, and so I grew up with horses and things like that. So that was all about my son going to see Grandpa and Grandma.
And how many books have you published in all?
Oh, I've published 4 books in all.
Okay, sounds great. And I know you're a writer, but what made you want to become an author?
I have the stories. You do little stories in your head. Every time you see someone, you think of an idea, or something happens and it just flows. It just flows in my head, and I just want to get it out. And having these books, especially like the newest book, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here, I want to help out and to reach out and help people. And that was the main driving force for that.
And I know your book entitled, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here. When I saw that title, I was very curious. And I'm like, start from where? Do you start from the beginning where you're at? Can you tell us more about your book, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here?
I can. this book has been on my heart for a long time. So what happens is I have journals, and I just write in journals things like to God, just things that happen during the day, just kind of a normal journal. And then I stop, and he responds to me, and I just write his words down in those journals. So he has told me over and over that these words aren't just meant for me, they're meant for everybody. So I went through 4 of my journals and kind of pulled things from there. And it has topics such as listening and asking God and things like that, things that you want to know about God. And he has the words that he's spoken to me, those are in there. And then it's backed up with scripture. So when you were asking, where do you start? The whole point is you can start from wherever you are. You're never too far gone. You're never in a terrible place you can't get out of, because God is right there, ready to meet you wherever you are, and you can start and just go on from there.
And that is so true, and that sounds so interesting, and there's so many people that need to know that they can start from anywhere, because so many people think they're too old to do something, but there is never too late to start from the beginning.
That's
and
right.
How long did it take you to write the book?
This book went fairly quickly because I already had the journals and the words from him. It took me a while to compile everything and put it together, but it was about less than 6 months and everything was put together. So it was faster than the other ones.
Wow, and that's how you know God was in the plan. So with your publishing company, how did you go about finding your publishing company to publish your book?
I searched the internet, went to the internet and looked up self-publishers, things like that, Christian publishers. So they had this one I went with is Christian Faith Publishing, and I had to send them my manuscript, and they had to approve it, and then they sent me back, the approval, and so we started on the process. Last April is when we started with the editing and all the fun stuff that goes into the production, all that stuff. So I was just blessed. I had someone who helped me with that process, so it went pretty smoothly.
And how did you come up with the illustrations for the cover of the book?
I actually did that one myself. We were trying to think of things that would work for the book, and my husband does a lot of drawing and artistic things, and we just couldn't come up with anything that seemed right. So one night as I was writing in my journal, I just heard, "Okay, God, let's start from here." So I found the title, and then I was like, well, what should we do for that? And it just came to me that you would have a person walking, and then you'd have a starting line where they were, but then it would show the starting lines that they had before, the other times that they had to start again and go from there. And you can keep doing that and keep doing that.
And that is very interesting, because I see a start point, but I don't see a finish point. That makes it even more interesting. So in the book, is there a finish line at the end without telling the whole story?
No, there's never a finish line until you get to heaven. That's your finish line. So you're always going to have things in life that you need to stop and say, okay, God, I'm going in the wrong direction. Or, he just says, let's try going this way. And so I don't think you're ever gonna stop. You're never gonna get to that point until we get to heaven.
Wow, that sounds great. And then I see you have another book, Hope After Grief.
I do. This is the one that was published before this latest one. It was published in 2006. And it is it talks about hope from dealing with grief of either a loss of a loved one or a divorce. So when I went through my divorce, I remember grieving, but I remember that it was like a loss because he just walked away one day and I didn't see him anymore. So I had to go through the grieving process of losing someone in my life. So I added that in there too. It's kind of a compilation. Other people have submitted stories and their comments and things like that. So it's really a lot of good information. It has areas that you can reach out and talk to people, things like that.
Okay, that sounds great. And I'm sure there's a lot of people that need to hear that there is hope after grief.
Yes.
And when you wrote that book, I know that book came out before, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here. So it's like it's going one after another, and it's like it's in you're just following one book after the other. So is there another book in the works to follow, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here?
Well, we that's kind of come up, and we'll see. I believe there is another book in there that can come out of Okay, God, kind of like a series, but I can't really say that right now because I don't know what he's gonna do. It's kind of up to God. So
that is great. And I need to pause right here. We need to take a real quick break and we'll be right back.
That's fine. Thanks.
Tom Gromes, father of market intelligence, writing business books that are a game changer. International author of nonfiction, has written the first and only books on the collapse of Russia and the first and only book on market intelligence. Check them out at mkintel.org. That's mkintel.org, mkintel.org.
Love to read? Love to meet authors in person? Then check out bookfestival.network to find a book festival in your region of Texas. We are adding book festival events throughout the year, so sign up to get notices and even a coupon towards purchase of a Texas author's book. Sign up at bookfestival.network.
What would you do if you had to put your life on hold to parent your parents? You have to laugh to keep from crying how to parent your parents, is a must-read book full of antidotes and practical advice to help parenting your parents. Author Charlotte Kenyon provides insights to help prepare anyone facing the challenges of caring for elderly parents. Check out our website at www.howtoparentyourparents.net.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
Hello again and welcome back to our show. We are interviewing Texas author Tricia Draper, and she has written 4 books, and her latest, Okay, God, Where Do We Start From Here? And before we left off, we were talking about your other books and how there may be another one in store in the near future. Can you tell us, out of all of the books you've written, which one is your favorite?
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't ask, but I know it's like asking which of your kids is your favorite, but because they're all like your baby, you pour your heart and soul into them. So I have to say, if I had to say, it would be Okay, God, Let's Start From Here, because that is so helpful, not only to me, but to others as well. And I mean, I have to say this once a day, every week. So it's not something that's like, I thought it would be a big aha moment, like, oh, we have to start from here. But it's not. It's a like every day, oh, okay, Lord, I'm thinking about the wrong things. Let's start again. Let's try this again. So I like that it helps me also as the writer and not just the reader.
Right. And I'm sure you have a favorite part in each story. But of course, okay, God, let's start from here. Is that possibly your favorite? Because that's the one that took you the shortest amount of time to write, correct?
Yes.
So is that possibly one because it came naturally?
I don't think so. They all came pretty naturally. They, like Bobby Bear came just a quick short story with my son. So that easily came together. And the hardest part with that was illustrations.
Right. Because you had to find an illustrator for that book, correct?
I did, yes. Yes.
Wow.
So, it was good though. So I just think, okay, God, for now is probably the one that I'm most invested in and most enjoying having it come out, things like that.
And I know for me, my writing journey, when I began writing, I had no idea I would end up where I am today. So thinking back from where you started back in 2003 to where you are now, did you ever imagine your life would be where it is today with writing?
No, I have epilepsy, and so I had many seizures that wiped away a lot of memories. So there was a period from about 2004 or 5 until just about 2016, maybe 2015, where I don't remember a lot, and I was really sick. I had a lot of health issues. So there's so much that I have forgotten. It's made it a little hard to promote, okay, God, let's start from here, because I'm kind of relearning how everything works. So I didn't know if I could write another book and start kind of all over again.
Right, which is probably why, okay, God, let's start from here. You just started right where you stopped.
I did, yes.
Which is great. So to our listeners, what words of encouragement can you give to those that are interested in becoming an author?
I would say definitely, if you feel an urge to write, you need to write. Whatever comes to your heart, whatever comes to your mind. And if you feel that those books can help someone else, either by giving them joy with a mystery novel, things like that. If it's just fiction that somebody would love to read, or if it's nonfiction, if it's a Christian book, like, okay, God, let's start from here. If you're helping people, you want to get that writing out. So I would suggest finding avenues, since there are so many avenues now with self-publishing, and definitely the regular route of having big house publishing. I would say go for it. If you have something to offer to others, anytime, go for that dream that's in your heart.
Wow, that is some good encouraging words to give. And where would you, I know you probably would tell them start from here, but where would you suggest would be a good starting point for them? As far as jotting down notes, finding a publisher, which would you do first?
First, you have to have the words. The words that you feel that come bubbling up inside of you. Like you said, take notes, write them down. And then when you can sit down and put an idea together, then the next idea comes, and then it just starts to flow. And when you have that whole flow going, you can then think of your words and compress it into a book, kind of wrangle them in to where they make sense all together. And so you have to start just I think just from the ideas and just from the words in your heart. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because when you write from the heart, that's when you never know who you may touch next.
That's right.
And all of your books Christian books, or what genre does your books fall under?
I guess they are. I hadn't thought about it, but Angels Among Us is a Christian fiction. It has short stories of Christian things, and so that would be one. The children's picture book doesn't have a lot of Christian, in it, but it's not Christian. And Hope After Grief has a lot of encouragement and things like that uplifting spiritual things. So that's not a specific Christian book. It's just more of an inspirational. It does have some Christian ideas in it and things like that.
Okay. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, of course, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here is Christian inspirational. So.
Right, you can tell by the title in itself, but it's very interesting, and the front of the cover is very appealing. So I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here. Can you hold that thought for one quick second, and we need to take another break, and we'll be right back.
What would you do if you found out everyone on the town council were thieves and murderers? That's what happened in Bandera, Texas in 1873. John Cruder was the marshal, yet he needed to operate outside the law in order to balance the scales of justice. He is the Midnight Marauder. You can find his books on Amazon.com and TopWesterns.com in paperback, digital, and audio. I'm Roy Clinton, and I hope you'll read The Midnight Marauder.
Indie Lector is a store for serious readers and indie authors. Find great talent at indielector.store and save money on books with their book club. A portion of the proceeds helps get books into schools and libraries in need. Find a great book to read by an indie author at indielector.store.
Hi, Brakefield and Berkey here, award-winning authors for the Techno Thrillers books, the Enigma book series. Technology, today's weapon of choice, the cyber good guys versus the cyber bad guys.
We invite you to join our website, theenigmaseries.com, where you will get sample chapters, sample audibles, book trailers, and you can sign up for our mailing list. The books are available in ebook, paperback, and audible. Thank you.
Welcome back to Indie Beacon Radio. Don't forget to like us, follow us, or subscribe to one of our many channels. Now, here is your host for today's show.
Welcome back, and once again, we are interviewing Texas author Tricia Draper, the author of 4 books, and her latest, Okay, God, Let's Start From Here. Tricia, can you tell us where can we find all 4 of your books?
Well, the first 2, unfortunately, are out of print, but yes, but Hope After Grief is available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and Okay God is also available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and also on a faithwriters.com website. So we have it into other little places.
And can you give everyone your contact information, your website, whatever you want our listeners to know how to contact you?
Okay. The information you can contact me at is my website. It is www.triciadraper.com. It's just my name. So it's easy to get to on the website. We have lots of information about me. We have devotional stories, lots of different things. So can I tell you about the contest we're having?
Sure.
Okay, it's for the listeners today, or we have a contest running through April 7th for anyone who goes to my website and goes to the contact link If you put your name and information in there and just write book contest in the subject, you can leave a comment if you'd like. We are going to take those names, and there will be a drawing on the 7th, and whoever wins will get a prize package.
Wow, that sounds cool. So enter the contest by April 7th, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And all they have to do is go to your website, triciadraper.com.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any upcoming events?
We're trying to put together a local book signing, and I'm excited about that. So far it's pretty new. We're still trying to figure out some places where we can do book signings or conferences, things like that.
Oh, that sounds really good. And do you have a Twitter or any Facebook or anything where others can reach out to you as well?
I do. My Twitter name is WorldChanger1, and I don't use that a lot, but I do keep people updated with that. My Facebook is just Tricia Draper, and again, my website is the other main avenue that I promote from.
Okay, great. So we look forward to seeing more from you. Listeners need to go to your website, make sure they fill out for your competition to get a basket. That would be great. Of course, everyone loves winning. Do you have any other words that you would love to share with our listeners?
I would just say, with writing, it just comes from the heart, from wherever you are. Just like, okay, God, let's start from here. Just decide in your heart where you are. And if you're a writer, those words will come and they'll just flow through you easily. So just let it come. That's what I'd say. Just let those dreams come.
So just let everything come naturally. And can you remember when you began writing, can you think of one thing that may have stuck with you to help you along your way?
I think just having people, I remember, like I said, I was on bed rest, and just being so excited when my husband came home, showing him the story I'd just written, and he was so proud and he was so accepting and so excited for me. So if you have someone with you that can just cheer you on, that is so important. That makes everything better for you as the author, and it makes things run smoothly. So there's always writers groups and things like that if you don't have a family that can help you with that.
Right, a great support system is always helpful.
Yes.
Do you have anything else you would like to share with our listeners before we leave today?
No, I just thank you guys for having me on and for doing this for authors. That's just amazing to get us and our books out there. It's a wonderful thing that you guys do, and I really appreciate it.
And do you have any last final words?
All I can say is, when you're in your life, wherever you are, it's never too late to say, okay, God, let's start from here.
That is great. I love that title. Okay, God, let's start from here. That is so encouraging on so many levels. Just start wherever you are, begin. There's no finish until you're on to heaven. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for being so encouraging. Hope after grief, and then starting where you left off. I love it. Thank you for joining our show today. Thank you for listening. Again, we have author Tricia Draper. Make sure you go to her website, follow her on Twitter, Facebook, and don't forget to enter the contest by April the 7th. I am your host, Jocelyn Arenetta Dion Holiday. 27 letters, one more than the alphabet. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Indie Beacon Radio, where creative souls can find help in marketing their creations. To learn more about Indie Beacon services, to be a guest on the show, or to advertise on our show, please visit our website at indiebeacon.com.